Today I'm joined with Lynn Nichol from Caboolture, Australia. She's part of our Disruptive City Women series of interviews that we've been doing with women all over the world who are in our newly released book. And it's great to have a woman from Australia this time. I've been interviewing people from everywhere. So welcome, Lynn. Great to have you.
Thank you, Tish. Good to be here.
Yeah. Well, let me just read a bit of your bio. Lynn has been a homemaker, a teacher, a business owner, and is now a practice manager of a counselling centre. With her husband, John, they've raised 4 daughters and have 12 grandchildren. And the reason that Lynn is in our book is because she particularly has been disrupting a lie, and one that I'm really passionate about disrupting, a lie that once you reach a certain age, you no longer have anything to contribute, especially in your cities and especially with young people. So Lynn, is in her older age, has been continuing to work hard for the kingdom of God. And so I just have a big passion. Lynn's heard me say it many times, if you're not dead, you're not done. And I actually believe that one of the biggest untapped resources in our city are those 65 and above. They're full of wisdom and not always energy, but they're full of wisdom, and they can give beautiful grandma squishy hugs, and we need them in reaching our cities. So Lynn, tell us, where did you grow up?
Well, I was born in Victoria, and our family moved to Tasmania, the northern part, to Burnie when I was 9. So most of my growing up memory is being in Tasmania. I have 2 brothers, older, 1 younger. Had a very stable, happy, safe childhood, pretty much like most people that I knew in the 50s and 60s. So I didn't have a lot of drama or trauma or anything like that.
And do you remember at that age, and I've been asking all the different women, do you remember 13, 14, what dreams you may have had for your life back then, or it didn't occur to you to be thinking that way?
I probably wouldn't have been able to articulate dreams at that age, but I know that at that age I particularly enjoyed studying foreign languages. So my dream really was to just study as much as I could and go as far as I could in that area. So I studied 2 European languages at high school, and uni I went in and did an Asian language.
Okay.
So that was my dream. I just wanted to do that, and beyond that I didn't really have any particular goal.
Yeah.
And that was when God intervened anyway and changed everything.
Yeah, so you found God in your university days, was it?
That's right, yes.
How did that encounter happen?
Well, it was a process, as most people will be able to relate. And I think a big factor was a young friend I had at uni who was a Christian, who invited me to things. And I thought, okay, well, if I need to do the intellectual thing and just go and discount Christianity, I will do the right thing and have a look at it, and then I can put it aside. But God had other ideas, and it was particularly following a camp. So I'm a big proponent of camps as being a really useful place to get down and understand what's going on in people's lives. So it was at a camp, I suppose, and the following few weeks after that made the difference, where God met me by saying, well, how about you take me seriously?
Yeah, that's awesome. So thankful for that. Now you're at the age of where you're still working, but you're heading into retirement, yourself and your husband, very soon. But in your 60s, you actually launched into running camps for teenage girls. Now, most people in their 60s to retire, settle down, do their knitting, whatever it is, but not Lynn Nichol. She decided, let's start camps for teenage girls. And as someone who's run many herself, me, it takes a lot of energy. So what possessed you to do that, Lynn?
Well, let me tell you, I wasn't looking to do that. We, as you said in the beginning, we raised 4 teenage girls, gone through those years. We've had a lot of drama, and our girls were all married to lovely Christian men and having children which was really nice. But I must say I couldn't really understand the world of teenage girls at that point, looking from the outside without any real understanding. But I have to say I heard you speak at a meeting and you laid out all of the things that people are facing, young women are facing, and I went, oh man, that's just too hard for a young person if you've got all of this on your shoulders. And it was God saying to me, right, don't just sit there and be concerned about that, you go and do something. And so it was a compulsion, but I wouldn't have chosen it, I have to say.
But you were obedient.
Mm.
And that was probably about 7 or 8 years ago now.
It's 2012, yeah. Oh, no, 2011.
Okay, so 9 years ago, wow.
Yes.
Looking back now, are you glad you obeyed?
Oh, it's been a very rich experience. Yes, definitely. I would say do not disobey when God calls you to do something.
Yeah. What have you gained from working with teen girls and running these camps?
I think I've begun to understand a little bit better what girls are facing. I don't claim to have any real knowledge in the way that they do, but I begin to understand a little bit. And so I'm a little bit more, I suppose, compassionate, whereas perhaps a little bit judgmental previously. But it's been a very rich experience just getting alongside girls and finding that they don't mind that I'm their grandmother's age. In fact, they're pretty okay with it, and they're not too concerned that I have a go at doing the jumping around things, but I'm just with much less energy, and they just appreciate the involvement. I had an instance on one camp where I came to sit with a meal, and the tables that were being used were all full, and so I sat at a table by myself. And somebody said, oh, Lynn's all over there by herself. So I said, yeah, I'm just sitting here with all my friends. And immediately 2 girls got straight up with their plates and came and sat next to me. And I thought that was really lovely.
Yeah, and I think just it's important that you are just who you are.
Yes.
Girls are just looking with all the broken families and the issues and the lack of love and acceptance. They're desperate for that. So they're not as scary as what we think they are.
That's right. Yes. Yeah, I found that they really like our younger leaders, and they certainly look to each other for support. But they need that extra older woman perspective, and somebody who can just give them a hug and tell them it will be okay in the end, and just giving them that support, I think, is really helpful to them. Yeah,
no, it's vital. It is vital. And obviously with these camps, you know, you built a team of women from different in different age groups, as you said, so you haven't done it all on your own.
Okay.
But I love it, because I think sometimes we think we've got to be some big upfront leader to make things happen. But you're a very quiet and loving achiever, Lynn, and you've drawn people in, and you've proved the world wrong, that you need to, stop. Do you think it's given you more energy within your spirit, within living, a purpose for life?
It's given me a focus at the times. I've often described people, my year goes like this. At the beginning of the year, it's quietish, and then we start planning a girls' camp, and it goes girls' camp, go, and up until we reach the peak, and then there's drop, and then it just goes on until we start planning the next one. So it certainly has given me a focus.
Yeah, no, that's lovely. Why do you think it is so important that grandparents get involved with teen girls and boys?
I think they need to see themselves in the context of a community. And so we need to be a community that cares across generations. And, you know, the old saying, it takes a village to raise a child. I remember hearing somewhere, and I cannot even remember where it was, but it takes a city to raise a teenage girl, because they have complex needs. And so I think they need that support from all different age groups.
Yeah, no, it is. That's vital. Do you feel, I mean, I know energy-wise, because I come home tired from a camp, you feel like God has sustained you? Like, would you feel like, you know, He sustained you? I mean, you're still alive.
Absolutely. As I said before, I wouldn't be choosing of my own to do it. And so I could just as easily choose to spend time on my hobbies, but He has given me it's a joy really to deal with unpredictable people and unpredictable situations, knowing that He's there and He hasn't put you in there with rudderless. You know, He's there with you, and none of the girls are there by accident either. And so that in itself is a very fulfilling way of looking at it and knowing His support in that.
Mm. You must have a sense of fulfillment 9 years on of, oh, look what through God we've accomplished. You know, it must feel quite satisfying.
Yes, it certainly is. And I'm very thankful for all the women that have joined us on this journey. Some have come, some have gone, but I've had a really beautiful who've been there most of the time, and that's been really wonderful.
So what would you like to say to any disruptive women in their 60s who are thinking of sitting down and putting their feet up?
Well, follow God's voice and just go and do it. Don't feel as though you have to have any particular skills or any particular training. It's, as you said before, you need to be yourself and just relate to the girls with an open heart and without any judgment, and give them a different way of looking at the world that is not confined by the culture that they live in, confined by or defined by the culture. And so just go and do it. You'll be surprised and filled with joy, actually, with the result of that.
Yeah, no, I think it's so vital, and it's something that we've put into action here in our city, in Toowoomba, with our camps as well, when we realised, wow, we need grandparents, and how much the girls love them. And you've heard me say over the years, the girls who asked the grandfathers to walk them down the aisle, the grandpas who've driven them to their formals, the birthday celebrations that everyone's showed up to. It is just so vital and so impacting. And I think especially when it comes to youth ministry, we think, well, only the young ones have got to help them. But I think that's actually not really helpful. We need a intergenerational teams. So, and I just think you've been an inspiration, Lynn, because I remember that first time when you heard me speak and got up and said, I think God wants us to do something, and you went and did it. And it's been great to see the journey that you've been on. So I pray that today will encourage women at their latter end of life. If you're not dead, you're not done.
Absolutely.
Be disruptive. So thank you so much, Lynn. I know how much you love interviews. She's a real talker, Lynn. She's a beautiful person, but just thank you for your time and sharing today. And you can read more of her story and her journey in the Disruptive City Women book, which has been launched. Thank you so much.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you.